Hello students, Sai Baba here. So in my previous class, I have discussed about the motion of a body rolling down a fixed inclined plane. Now I would like to once summarize the same discussion which I have done in my previous class. That means I want to show you the PowerPoint presentation of the summary of the discussion I have done in my previous class. For the motion down, rolling down the fixed inclined plane. So those who are writing the notes, I advise everybody to write the notes, particularly those who are in 11th class, as they are learning the subject for the first time here, this topic. So you need to write the notes in a systematic way to gain familiarity with the subject. So physics is not a subject like history or theoretical. I don't mean that history is very easy subject or something like that. I mean, it is not a subject where you can study just by reading it. So it needs writing practice also. So next to the mathematics, because it involves lot of equations and calculations based on the formulae. So unless you have writing practice, you will not gain the required familiarity with the subject. So come on, look at the screen. I'm going to once show you the notes, systematic notes for the discussion I have done in my previous class. So those who are writing the note, they can get ready with their notebook and pen. Now look at the screen here. Consider regular body of uniform density with a circular cross section of radius Kepler and mass Kepler, which is released from rest from the top of a fixed inclined plane of vertical height h. If it rolls down the inclined plane without slipping, then when it reaches the bottom of the inclined plane, you can write increase in the kinetic energy equal decrease in the gravitational potential. As explained earlier, when the body rolls on a fixed surface without slipping, when a body rolls on a fixed surface without slipping, the net work done by the frictional force on the rolling body by the surface will be zero. Because the instantaneous velocity of the bottommost points of the surface of the body, on the surface of the body which are in contact with the fixed surface, is zero. So no net work is done by the frictional force on the body when the body rolls on a fixed surface without slipping. So when no work is done by the friction forces, and you can say in general, if no work is done by the other forces which are not conservative, then total mechanical the body remains constant. So from conservation of mechanical energy, you can write increase in the kinetic energy of the body as it rolls down the fixed inclined plane is equal to decrease in the gravitational potential. So you can write decrease in gravitational potential equal mgh, where h is the vertical height through which the body falls. So when it reaches the bottom of the inclined plane, decrease in the gravitational potential, G can write mgh, h is the vertical height of the inclined plane, and increase in kinetic energy equal to final kinetic energy when it reaches the bottom of the inclined plane minus initial kinetic at top of the inclined plane. Initial kinetic at top of the inclined plane is zero. I have done this discussion in the previous class. So those who are writing the notes, please take a pause and please finish writing the notes up to here so that I can show my next slide. So final kinetic energy bottom of the inclined plane can be written as equal to mgh. So if the body rolls down the fixed inclined plane without slipping, then the kinetic energy of the rolling body when it reaches the bottom of the inclined plane, which is actually sum of translational rotational kinetic energies, can be written as half mvcm square into 1 plus k square by r square, explained previously, where vcm is the magnitude of the translational velocity of center of mass of the rolling body when it reaches the bottom of the inclined plane. K is the radius of gyration of the rolling body about the horizontal axis passing through its center of mass and parallel to surface on which it rolls. So you can write from the same equation Vcm square equal to 2hg by 1 plus k square by r square, or magnitude of the linear velocity center of mass of the rolling body when it reaches the bottom of the inclined plane can be written as root of 2gh by 1 plus k square by r square. All this I have discussed in my previous class. I want just summarizing the same discussion. So here in the figure I have shown a right angle triangle to show the relation between h and s. That means if h is the vertical height through which the center of mass of the rolling body falls as it rolls down the inclined plane, and s is the corresponding linear distance parallel to the inclined surface which the center of mass of the rolling body moves, then you can write from the figure sin theta can be written as h by s. So those are writing the notes. Please take a pause and finish writing the note till this step. So next, look at the screen here. For linear motion of center of mass, we can use the equations of one-dimensional motion with constant acceleration. That is, center of mass of the rolling body moves parallel to the inclined surface with constant acceleration. So we can use the equation v square minus k equal to as. Here Vcm represents the magnitude of the final velocity, I mean linear velocity center of mass, and UCM represents the magnitude of the initial velocity center of mass, and ACM represents the magnitude of the linear acceleration center of mass. SCM is the magnitude of the linear displacement of center of mass. SCM I have written as S. The body starts from rest from the top of the inclined plane, initial velocity of center of mass, and the bottom of the inclined plane you can take it as 0. As I discussed shown in the previous slide, you can write Vcm square equal to gh by 1 plus k square by r square. You can take s to the left side. You can cancel 2 both sides. You can write g into h by s divided by 1 plus k square by r square into SCM. As explained previous slide, you can write h by s equal to sin theta. So those who are writing the notes, please take a pause and finish writing the notes up to this slide. I would like to show you the continuation to this. So the linear acceleration center of mass when the body rolls down the fixed inclined plane without slipping is given by SCM equal to 1 plus g sin theta by 1 plus k square by r square. You can observe that the magnitude of the linear acceleration center of mass of the rolling body is less than g sin theta. Earlier in the Newton's laws of motion, I have discussed that the motion of a body sliding down smooth and fixed inclined plane. Magnitude of linear acceleration of the body when it slides down the smooth and fixed inclined plane under the action of the forces weight mg and Narwhal reaction is given by, in the case of sliding down smooth and fixed inclined plane, given by g sin theta. But in the case of rolling down the fixed inclined plane, it is less than g sin theta. You can observe that the magnitude of linear acceleration center of mass rolling body when it rolls down the fixed inclined plane without slipping is less than the magnitude of linear acceleration when it slides down the same incline without rolling. So those who are writing the notes, come on. You can finish writing. Sometimes you can also express this formula in terms of moment of inertia. K square by R square, you can write mk square by mr square, where m is the mass of the rolling body. Mk square, you can write ICM. ICM, I subscript CM represent the moment of inertia of the rolling body about the horizontal axis, passing through its center of mass and parallel to the inclined surface on which it rolls. So you can write magnitude of linear axis center of mass equal to g sin theta by 1 plus ICM by mr square. So in some of the books I find the equation is written in this manner. It's not different from the equation I have given here. Come on, those who are writing the notes, please take a pause and finish writing the notes up to this equation. I would like to show the continuation to this in my next slide. So as I explained with calculation in my previous class, when rolled down the same inclined plane with no slipping, starting from rest at the top of the inclined plane, solid sphere reaches the bottom first, solid cylinder and circular disc next, then hollow sphere followed by circular ring. So I have discussed the calculation or reasoning for this in my previous class. So I have compared the values of k square by r square for different regular objects which I mentioned here. K square by r square is equal to 2 by 5 for solid uniform solid sphere about the axis through its center of mass. K square by r square equal to 1 by 2 for uniform solid cylinder and uniform circular disc about the geometrical axis of symmetry. And k square by r square equal to 2 by 3 for thin walled hollow sphere or uniform hollow spherical shell. And k square by r square equal to 1 for thin uniform circular ring. The value of k square by r square is the least for uniform solid sphere. Therefore, magnitude of the linear axis is the center of mass of solid sphere more than the magnitude of linear axis is the center of mass of solid cylinder, which is greater than the magnitude of linear axis is the center of mass of hollow spherical shell. That is greater than the magnitude of linear axis is the center of mass of thin uniform circular ring. So greater using the formula S equal to half et square for linear motion center of mass. Center of mass of the rolling body starts from rest and moves down the inclined plane parallel to the inclined surface with constant acceleration. So you can write time taken by the rolling body to reach the bottom of the inclined plane equal to root of 2s by ACM. S is the magnitude of linear displacement of center of mass of the rolling body parallel to the inclined surface, which you can take it as equal length of the inclined plane, which is same for all the objects. So the time taken is inversely proportional to square root of linear acceleration center of mass. So least time is taken by the solid sphere which has the greatest linear acceleration of center of mass, and more time is taken by the ring in the last. That's the order. In the same order these objects reach the ground, bottom of the inclined plane, the same order. So those who are copying, writing the notes, please take a pause and finish writing the notes. So as I discussed here, the magnitude of linear acceleration center of mass of solid sphere, same thing is given here, less than magnitude of linear acceleration of center of mass of solid cylinder and disc, that is less than the magnitude of linear acceleration of center of mass of hollow sphere, which is less than the magnitude of linear acceleration of center of mass of ring. So I have also discussed the alternate method to derive the expression For a magnet of linear angular center of mass to rolling body, when it rolls down the fixed inclined plane without slipping. And in this alternate method, I have considered the dynamics method. That is the method based on Newton's laws of motion. I have also explained how we can find the magnitude of the minimum value of static friction required to cause rolling motion for the body to roll down the frictional, for the body to roll down the fixed inclined plane without slipping, a torque is needed to produce the angular acceleration alpha about the axis passing through its center of mass. So in the alternate method, we discussed the application of Newton's second law for linear motion of center of mass and application of Newton's second law for rotational motion about the axis passing through center of mass. So I have shown you the free body diagram in my previous class. I will be again showing you this free body diagram in next slide also. If you try to recollect what I have discussed in my previous class, as explained already in my previous class, I don't want to, as it is, repeat the same explanation. I want to just remind you, three forces act on the body here. One is its weight mg, which acts vertically downwards. Then N is the magnitude of the normal reaction force on the body by surface of the inclined plane, which acts normal to surface and directed away from surface. The force of static friction exerted by the inclined surface on the rolling body acts tangential to the surfaces in contact and up along the inclined surface. That means the required torque to cause rotational motion, that is to produce angular acceleration alpha about the axis passing through center of mass, is produced by frictional force in the figure in the clockwise sense when the friction acts up the inclined surface, as explained in the previous class. So I have explained already in the previous class, you can resolve the weight mg into rectangular components parallel to the inclined surface and perpendicular to the inclined surface. The component mg cos theta acts perpendicular to the inclined surface. The component mg sin theta acts parallel to the inclined surface. We can choose a direction parallel to the inclined surface, which is the direction of the motion of the center of mass of the rolling body as x-axis. The direction perpendicular to the inclined surface y-axis. So for a y component of resultant force on the body, we can write Fy equal to n minus mg cos theta, that is 0. That is, we are writing the equations of motion for linear motion of center of mass, considering the translatory motion. Or magnitude of normal reaction, we can write mg cos theta. So resultant of all the external force acting on the body can be that Fx means x component resultant force. That you can write mg sin theta minus Fs. The component mg sin theta acts in the direction of the motion of the linear, in the direction of linear motion of center of mass. So on the right side, you can write capital M here instead of small m. That correction you try to make. Please, those who are writing the notes, they can take a pause and finish writing the notes. So I have made that correction which I was talking about. Now see here, resultant force on the body for linear motion of center of mass, you can write mg sin theta minus Fs equal to capital M ds here. This you can call it the equation. So those are writing the notes, please finish writing the notes up to here. You can take a pause and finish writing the notes. In case you are not writing the notes, also better you write some equations, at least in rough work, so that you follow the calculation part. because entire calculation cannot be understood by just reading it. So I'd like to show the continuation to this. So for rotational motion about center of mass, the resultant of all the external torques can be written as ICM into alpha. As explained in my previous class, I subscript CM represents the moment of inertia of the rolling body about the horizontal axis passing through its center of mass. The axis is parallel to the inclined surface on which the body rolls. So as I explained in my previous class, the net torque acting on the rolling body is equal to the torque on the rolling body due to frictional force. The magnitude of the torque due to the frictional force can be written as Fs into R. There Fs represents the magnitude of static friction. And ICM, that is moment of inertia of the rolling body about the axis passing through the center of mass, can be written as mk square. And alpha is the angular acceleration of the rolling body for rotational motion about the horizontal axis through its center of mass. So you can take R to the right side. So you get magnitude of static friction can be written as m alpha into k square by r square. So when the body rolls down the fixed inclined plane without slipping, as explained earlier, you can write magnitude of linear velocity of center of mass can be written as r into omega, where r is the radius of the rolling body. Omega is the angular speed of rotation of the rolling body about the axis, horizontal axis passing through center of mass. To differentiate this equation both sides with respect to time t, as I explained in my previous class, you can write magnitude of linear accelerated center of mass of the rolling body, r into alpha, where alpha is the angular acceleration about the axis passing through center of mass, the rotational motion about the axis through center of mass. So from this you can write alpha equal to ACM by R. You can substitute this value of alpha in this equation. Now substitute alpha equal to, you can substitute here alpha equal to ACM by R in this particular above equation and simplify that. So those who are writing the notes, please finish writing the notes up to this step. Even though you are not writing the notes also, you can write these equations on rough paper so that you gain familiarity and you are able to understand the calculation part. Because calculation cannot be understood by just reading the calculation. At least write the equations on your rough paper or rough notebook to follow the discussion. So we are substituting the value of alpha, you get FCM, Fs equal to mk square by r into SCM by r, or magnitude of the static friction force needed to cause rolling down the fixed inclined plane without slipping. You can add MEACM into k square by r square. From first equation, the first equation which I have written previously, again I write here. You need not write in the notes, only to remind you I am writing again. mg sin theta minus Fs equal to MEACM. This is the first equation I have written previously. You can add this and this. So if you add these two equations, on the left hand side Fs gets cancelled. You get mg sin theta minus, substitute the value of Fs from second equation A into the first equation. I'm substituting this value of Fs from first equation second equation. So mg sin theta minus MEACM equal to k square. Solve for linear accelerated center of mass. Come on, those who are writing the notes, please finish writing the notes up to here. In case you need more time to copy the notes, you can take a pause and finish writing the notes. So next I can collect the terms containing linear accelerated center of mass to the right hand side of the equation. So take a pause and finish writing the notes up to this step or copying the calculation part. If you cancel m both sides. So linear accelerated center of mass of the rolling body when it rolls down the fixed inclined plane without slipping is given by g sin theta by 1 plus k square by r square. So I would like to do little further discussion here. which I explained in the previous class. Sometimes you may be asked to find the magnitude of the friction necessary to cause rolling. Then from second equation, only this is a formula which you need to remember. I don't mean you need to remember the entire discussion which I am doing now. You should understand the discussion. You should follow the discussion. You should understand how to calculate the magnitude of the friction required so that the body can roll down the fixed inclined plane without slipping. But this result, you better remember, there are a number of questions which can be answered faster if you remember this result. Whereas the rest of the discussion you need to follow. So as I discussed here, that from equation 2, the magnitude of the friction force needed to cause rolling down the fixed inclined plane given by Fs equal to MACM into K square by R square. This is from second equation. You can substitute ACM equal to G sin theta by 1 plus K square by R square. So magnitude of the friction force needed to cause rolling down the fixed inclined plane without slipping is given by G sin theta by 1 plus K square by R square. That means the value of ACM whole multiplied by K square by R square. So by substituting the value of K square by R square, you can find the minimum magnitude of the friction force needed to cause rolling down the inclined plane without slipping. For example, if a solid cylinder rolls down the fixed inclined plane without slipping, if you are asked to find what is the magnitude of friction, static friction needed so that the cylinder rolls down the inclined plane without slipping, you can take K square by R square equal to 1 by 2. To substitute K square by R square equal to 1 by 2, I don't mean that you should mug up or remember the result which we are going to arrive at for magnitude of friction needed to cause rolling. I'm just explaining how it can be calculated. That will be mg sin theta into 1 by 2 divided by 1 plus 1 by 2. That means in the case of solid cylinder, for uniform solid cylinder or uniform circular disc, if it is rolled down the fixed inclined plane without slipping, if you simplify this, you get minimum magnitude of friction required to cause rolling down the inclined plane is 1 by 3 mg sin theta. Similarly, in case we are given a problem with solid sphere, roll it down the fixed inclined plane. For solid sphere rolling down, I mean for uniform solid sphere rolling down the fixed inclined plane. I'm just explaining on how to calculate the magnitude of friction needed so that the body can roll down the inclined plane without slipping. I don't mean that you should remember the formula for magnitude of friction or result which you are arriving at each case. So for uniform solid sphere about the axis passing through its center of mass, you can write K square by R square is 2i5. To substitute K square by R square equal to 2i5, you get mg sin theta into 2 by 5 divided by 1 plus 2 by 5. You get 2 by 7 mg sin theta. Like that, if for different objects, you can calculate in a similar way. So sometimes you may be asked to all this. I think I have discussed in the previous class also, but I am revising so that because it is sometimes some student may feel this particular discussion difficult. So that's why I'm doing a bit of a repetition also. So here, sometimes you may be asked what is the minimum value of coefficient of friction needed so that the body can roll down the inclined plane without slipping. Then you have to use the condition that limiting friction between the two surfaces cannot exceed the static friction between the two surfaces cannot exceed the limiting value. The static friction cannot exceed the limiting friction. That means Fs will be less than or equal you are seen here. So if you substitute this expression for Fs, that is mg sin theta into k square by r square by 1 plus k square by r square. And neighborhood of normal reaction as we have seen can be written as mg cos theta. So you can cancel mg both sides. If you divide r both sides with cos theta, so sin theta by cos theta into k square by r square by 1 plus k square by r square. I have taken cos theta to the other side, less than or equal to yes. That means for rolling with no slipping down the fixed inclined plane, the coefficient of static friction between the rolling body and the inclined surface has to be more than or at least equal to tan theta into k square by r square into 1 plus k square by r square. That means the body can roll it down the inclined plane without slipping if the value of coefficient of friction is more than this particular value on the right side, or at least equal to this value. Suppose if you are given problem for motion down, solid cylinder. If a solid cylinder rolls down the fixed inclined plane, you may be asked, you may be given a question, what is the minimum value of coefficient of friction needed so that cylinder rolls down the fixed inclined plane without slipping? You can take k square by r square equal to 1 by 2. So minimum value of the coefficient of static friction between the object, rolling object and inclined plane, which is needed so that the object can roll it down the inclined plane without slipping, is equal to tan theta into k square by r square divided by 1 plus k square by r square. For example, in the case of uniform solid cylinder, you can write k square by r square equal to 1 by 2. So minimum value of coefficient of friction for uniform solid cylinder. If a uniform solid cylinder is released from rest on the top of the fixed inclined plane, then it rolls down the inclined plane without slipping if the coefficient of friction is at least equal to 1 by 3 times tan theta. That means more than or equal to 1 by 3 tan theta. This you get by substituting k square by r square equal to 1 by 2 in both numerator and denominator. Similar way, you can do the calculate the minimum value of coefficient of friction needed for rolling down the fixed inclined plane without slipping in the case of solid sphere by substituting k square by r square equal to 2y5. The same way you can calculate the condition for rolling down the fixed inclined plane for other regular objects. So those who are writing the notes, they want to copy this working, they can take a pause and finish writing this working. Next, I would like to solve one problem. After you have finished copying this part, I will show you the problem next slide. So look at the problem on the screen. This is the problem number 8 when I numbered from beginning of rotational motion. What is the magnitude of linear acceleration center of mass of a uniform solid ball when it rolls down a fixed inclined plane of angle of inclination 30 degrees to the oriented? So as I remember, this problem was given one of the old MSET exam papers in the medical entrance, as I mentioned within brackets, 1996 MSET medical. So it's a direct substitution problem. So I have already written the formula above. The same formula has to be used. So in the case of uniform solid ball, means you can consider the solid ball like a uniform solid sphere. So in the case of uniform solid sphere, moment of inertia about the axis passing through its center of mass is given by 2I5 mr square. So moment of inertia of regular object about a given axis can be I equal mk square, where m is the mass of the rolling object. So k square by r square can be taken as 2y5 here. Substituting this value of k square by r square in this equation. So magnitude of the linear axis of center of mass g into theta is given to be 30 degrees. 1 plus 2 by 5. This you can simplify further. Taking g as 9.8 meters per second square, sin 30 degrees is equal to 1 by 2. So the denominator gets 7 by 5. That is 5 by 14 into 9.8 meters per second. You can simplify this yourself. If you want to copy the solution of this problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of this problem. So you'll get the answer as 3.5 meters per second square. You can take a pause and finish copying the solution of this problem. Of course, in my next classes, I will be discussing some more problems based on rolling down the fixed inclined plane. And of course, I will be showing you the assignment in rotational motion in the way I have shown you the assignment in the previous chapter. In the similar way, you will have assignment in rotatory motion in number of parts. At least you will have 2 parts, in each part having 30 questions. In the first 30 questions, you will have most of the questions related to the rotational kinematics and calculation of moment of inertia, and based on pure rotational motion about the of a rigid body about a fixed axis. In the second part of the questions, you will have some questions based on conservation of angular momentum and rolling motion, so which I will be showing in the later classes. So now, before this, we have almost completed most of the theory part in rotational mechanics. But there is one more thing which I would like to mention, even though it's not specifically mentioned in the syllabus, but observe it is given in the exercise questions in the 12 board textbooks, in the 11th class textbooks and junior intermediate textbooks. At least the conclusion you have to remember that I think probably it is given the additional exercises, that is called angular momentum theorem. Earlier I have discussed the kinetic energy theorem. So earlier I have discussed the kinetic energy theorem. The kinetic energy system of particles with respect to origin O of a inertial frame of reference. In the case of combined translated rotational motion, a system of particles, equal to kinetic energy system about the axis, about the center of mass of system, plus half mvcm square. Similar theorem we have for angular momentum also, which can be used for calculation of angular momentum of system of particles. With respect to origin of inertial frame of reference. So, this angular momentum theorem can be written mathematically in this way: L bar equal to L bar subscript Cm plus RCm bar cross capital M into VCm bar. So I'd like to discuss what each term in this equation means. So L bar represents the angular momentum of the system of particles, which may perform both translational and rotational, combined translational rotational motion with respect to origin O of a inertial frame of reference. Of course, for practical purposes, we can consider the laboratory frame of reference as inertial frame of reference in the discussions we do at present. So L bar represents the angular momentum of the system of the particles. I mean total angular momentum system of the particles with respect to origin O of fixed frame of reference or laboratory frame of reference. L bar subscript Cm represents the angular momentum of the same system of particles with respect to center of mass of system as origin. RCM bar is the position vector of center of mass of the system of the particle with respect to the origin O of the inertial frame of reference. Capital M is the total mass of system of the particles. VCM bar is the linear velocity vector of center of mass of system. So here L bar is the total angular momentum system of the particle with respect to the fixed origin O. I mean with respect to origin O, which is fixed with respect to laboratory frame of reference. L bar subscript Cm represents angular momentum system of the particle with respect to center of mass system. RCM bar is the position vector of the center of mass of the system of the particle with respect to origin O of the laboratory frame of reference or fixed frame of reference. Capital M is the total mass system of the particle. VCM bar is the linear velocity of center of mass of the system of the particles with respect to origin O of the inertial frame of reference. So this result can be derived by an approach which we followed previous to this. So, but I don't suggest to go through this derivation, particularly for biology group students. So the derivation is not specifically mentioned in the board exam syllabus, but those who are interested for subject point of view, they can once read the derivation given in the HCR book or other standard books. The procedure is not very difficult. You have to follow the method I explained in the kinetic energy theorem. Let us consider a system of n particles with masses. I just tell you the approach of n particles with masses m1, m2, m3 up to mn. At r1 bar, r2 bar, etc. Denote the position vectors of the individual particles. For ith particle, mass of ith particle denoted by mi. Position vector of ith particle will be denoted by r bar subscript I. So let us suppose r bar subscript I denote the position vector of the ith particle with respect to origin O of the inertial frame of reference. And r bar subscript C or Cm represent the position vector of center of mass of the system of the particles with respect to origin O of the inertial frame of reference. R bar subscript IC represent the position vector of the ith particle with respect to center of mass of the system. As explained earlier in the proof of kinetic energy theorem, similar proof can be discussed for here also. Position vector from triangle of addition of vectors. Position vector of the ith particle with respect to origin, we can written as vector sum of position vector of ith particle with respect to center of mass and position vector of center of mass with respect to the origin of the inertial frame. To differentiate this, both sides of this equation with respect to time t, as I already explained, this particular step I have already written in the proof for kinetic energy theorem also. The linear velocity of the ith particle with respect to the origin O of the inertial frame is equal to linear velocity of the ith particle with respect to center of mass plus linear velocity center of mass of system of the particle with respect to the origin of the inertial frame. So angular momentum of the ith particle with respect to origin, we can write r bar subscript I cross mi vi bar. That is angular momentum from definition of angular momentum of ith particle with respect to the origin of fixed coordinate system, fixed frame of reference, or with respect to origin of inertial frame of reference is equal to r bar cross p bar. From basic definition, angular momentum of particle with respect to origin, we write r bar cross p bar. Then p bar linear momentum vector of the particle. So linear momentum of the ith particle with respect to origin, we can write mi vi bar. M subscript I represent the mass of the ith particle. So total angular momentum system of the particles with respect to the origin, we can write sigma I equal to 1 to n Ri bar cross mi vi bar. You can substitute these two equations here and simplify it further. And by using the same conclusions I discussed earlier, you can arrive at this conclusion. Okay, I'll stop this class now. The time is over. I'll continue my discussion in my next class.